Can you think of any really entertaining movies where rich people are doing just really nice things in the world for other people? Yeah, me neither. So here we go, another film where all the rich people suck. And not only rich people, but rich men. Blink Twice is the directorial debut of Zoe Kravitz. Yep, that Kravitz. She's the daughter, obviously, of Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet, who, of course, is known for The Cosby Show and A Different World, if you're old enough to remember that. Interestingly enough, Lisa Bonet was in one of my favorite John Cusack films, High Fidelity, and her daughter Zoe played the revised version of Cusack's character Rob in the High Fidelity TV series. Kravitz is also Selena Kyle in the latest Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, Angel Salvador in X-Men First Class, and the list goes on and on with her acting career. She's literally the definition of a Renaissance woman. She's a model, actress, singer, writer, now director, and honestly, she's pretty good. She co-wrote Blink Twice with E.T. Feinbaum, who also wrote for the High Fidelity TV series that she starred in. And a little fun fact, Zoe Kravitz met Channing Tatum on this film, and she fell in love with him. They fell in love with each other, and now they're engaged. And I wonder what that was like, directing your fiancé, soon-to-be fiancé. Surely nothing could have gone wrong there. The film stars Naomi Ackie, Channing Tatum, Alia Shawkat, with a lot of other interesting names from the past like Christian Slater and Gina Davis. Where have these guys been? Gina Davis and Christian Slater, when was the last time they were in a movie? I love them. You also get a little Kyle MacLachlan, Haley Joel Osment, and Levon Hawke, son of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. This movie starts with Naomi Ackie's character Frida scrolling through social media, and she comes across an interview of Channing Tatum's character, tech company founder Slater King. He's apologizing publicly for something horrible that he did, claiming that he's now seeking professional help through therapy. These rich people, right? By the way, why is it that all these movies about awful rich people are always made by rich people? The rich sticking it to the rich or something. Frida and her friend Jess, played by Alia Shawkat, are waitresses or servers that just so happen to work at a gala hosted by Slater King. Frida feels invisible most of her life, and at the gala, her boss reminds her to, in fact, be invisible when it comes to her job. I guess implying that she's tried to hobnob with the rich folks at these events while serving them before. Frida, wanting to be one of these elite rich people, or at least be in the presence of them, changes out of their server uniforms and into formal attire and crashes the gala pretending to be guests. As they're walking around trying to figure out how to walk in heels, she runs into Slater King, and of course he notices her and takes an interest in her, which she really eats up, and he ends up inviting her to his own private island with his group of rich friends. Kravitz does a great job keeping the audience questioning from when they step foot on the island, where things feel kind of weird and sketchy, and that something feels off, but not really knowing why. The editing makes you think, that's a little strange, but I'm sure there's some reasonable explanation here. It's fine, we're good. There is kind of a turning point before the realization of what is really happening, and you wonder why Frida decides to stay in that moment, and I think it goes back to her wanting to really, again, not be invisible, wanting something more in life, even though there may be something wrong with these people. She's willing to accept that and just go with it, I guess, because she wants to be included. There's a term in film called Chekhov's gun, which is something included into a story that seems kind of unimportant at first, but will later take on greater significance, like the poster in Shawshank Redemption or not crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. This movie is full of them, and some might say it's a little overused, but I'm a sucker for it, and I love that kind of thing, and I love this aspect of the film, honestly. There are a lot of, twists and turns to this movie, and even though you can kind of guess what the main twist is, it does it in a creative way, and it gives you a few surprises along the way. There's some really great performances here. Naomi Ackie is fantastic. She's believable, and I felt her desperately, sometimes painfully, wanting to be seen by these people. Her denial of what's going on in the beginning of her being blinded by this lifestyle, wanting acceptance, is understandable. And I think we've all been there once or twice in our lives. Alia Shawkat, who I love from Arrested Development, brings some really great lightness to the film and is sort of Frida's voice of reason. She's also got some really kind of funny moments in this movie that I really liked. Adria Arjona, who plays Sarah, she's this Survivor-type reality star. She does a really amazing job bringing her character from one mindset to another with the emotion to back it up. She kind of becomes a different person at the end of this. And of course you have Channing Tatum, who seems like, well, Channing Tatum. I feel like he's always playing a different version of himself, like some kind of multiverse of Channing Tatums. No Deadpool reference included there. Levon Hawke was a really nice surprise. His character, Lucas, is this naive, wanting to be included kind of guy. He made me feel sorry for him, but also at the same time really disgusted. Haven't seen him in much, but I'm a big fan of the Hawks and the Thurman family. I know he's in a movie that Ethan Hawke directed called Wildcat, which I just found out about, and I'm really looking forward to watching that. I haven't gotten there yet. And of course, Christian Slater and Gina Davis, who I both loved growing up in the 80s and 90s. They have a great comeback role in this movie. And Gina Davis, I have to say, I want to see her in more movies. I've actually missed her. What happened to her? This film is really disturbing, and it's one of those movies where I don't think I'd want to watch it again necessarily. Was it good? Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good movie, but it's here to tell you something, and it's bold, and it's in your face, and some people might actually not be ready for it. It's a little strange because it has some pretty funny moments for such a dark story. It's not really a dark comedy. It's a psychological thriller for sure. It just felt weird laughing at some of the jokes. The jokes were great, though. I mean, it was great writing. The story really isn't anything new. It's been told before, but there are some ways that it's told that are enjoyable. If that's the right word. It's a weird word for this movie. The end of this movie, I'm still working through it. It had me asking a lot of questions. Everything was resolved, don't get me wrong. It tied up everything well, and I felt pretty satisfied. It really has to do with the mindset of the characters at the end, mainly Frida and how she felt at the beginning of the movie in contrast to the end, I think. All in all, this isn't a feel-good movie in the slightest. It's entertaining, but it's raw and it's rough, but you know, you've got some really great performances here and some great cinematography. It's not really my kind of movie, but I did really appreciate it for what it was and what it was trying to say, I guess. I didn't feel good at the end of this movie, but I felt satisfied, I think. Or did I? Have you seen Blink Twice? What'd you think of it? I'd love to know your reactions. Let me know in the comments below and we'll talk about it. And remember, don't wait to stream it. Go to the theaters first and let's see it together.